really like kart race because I feel the need for speed.
Necesito sentir la velocidad. Es mi vida.
The PPG Kart World Series opened with the Miami Grand Prix, which featured a variety of beautiful things, not the least of which was a beautiful drive by Michael Andretti en route to a debut victory for the American-built Swift chassis and the championship lead. Round 2, half a world away in the Surfers Paradise, Australia, a race which featured a parade of leaders, including Scott Pruitt, who fought his way through to record his second career win on his honeymoon. Back across the Pacific for round 3, where the bungee jumpers flew and the streets of Long Beach, California welcomed the world's best for the 23rd year in a row. None better than Alex Zanardi, who won, then celebrated with a victory donut. 3 races, 3 different winners. In the late 70s, the fabled dirt mile known as Nazareth National had fallen into disrepair. Its clay surface that once shook to the thunder of modified stock cars eroded and weedy. Hard to tell from these images what a palace of speed it would once again become. Nowadays it looks somewhat different, and it's been further improved this year with a state-of-the-art 37,000-seat new grandstand. Hello and welcome to Eurosport's coverage of the Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix from Ben Edwards and Jeremy Shaw. Looking forward to an exciting race around this tri-oval, the cars for which are lined up down in the pit lane, ready to start. But Alex Zanardi has a huge job ahead of him today. The winner from Long Beach has qualified way down in 21st position after going out after another competitor had blown his engine in qualifying. Zanardi had to take to a track which had oil down, and there was no way he was ever going to achieve a good result from that. He was 6th fastest though this morning in the warm-up, and Zanardi with the slightly harder Firestone tyre should be in good shape for the race this afternoon. Michael Andretti starts from 2nd position, but he had his problems in Long Beach in the last race with 3 tyres that burst on him. It all came down to a problem with the team, the Newman-Haas team, with their tyre pressure gauges, believe it or not, which were misreading the correct tyre pressures, and that caused the problems for Michael Andretti in the last race. On pole position here, though, is Paul Tracy with a new lap record in qualifying, 18.831 seconds. He will start from pole position. He led this race last year until this dramatic moment when he came into the pits, got it all wrong, and knocked over his crew members. That set him back for the rest of the race. Thankfully, his crew members were not too seriously hurt, and they're all back here today to do exactly the same work on Paul Tracy's car. Jeremy, we've got a great race set up in front of us.
We have indeed. We've got a beautiful weather here at Nazareth Speedway. It's a little bit overcast, but it's nice and warm. There's a good crowd on hand, and I think we're in for a fascinating race this afternoon. You know, these 1 mile ovals, Ben, are non-stop action, and it's going to be very, very difficult for the leaders to cope with the traffic. It's how they get through the slower cars, I think, that's going to determine the outcome of this race. Experience tells on a track like this.
They'll be fighting their way through the slower cars. There are 26 cars actually allowed to take the start of this race, but it only needs a little performance difference to see the leaders interlapping the slower cars within a matter of 10 laps, and then after that it's just all mayhem out there as the leaders try to go through. So the announcement given to start engines, and the cars on the dummy grid on the exit of the pit lane get fired up, ready to start rolling around on the warm-up laps here at Nazareth. 225 laps of this 1 mile oval. It's going to be a long afternoon's work for them. This in the past has been one of the shortest races. Nigel Mansell has the record here, but we're going to go and hear a little bit from Tony Bettenhausen, his driver, 3rd on the grid.
This is as great a job as any driver you've ever had has done. It equals the record of Stefan Johansson qualifying 3rd in Portland. Your emotions right now as you get ready to turn this rookie loose.
Well, Team Alumax is very excited right now. We think we've got a good race car, and we think we can run with those guys in the front row all day long. And if we can give him good pit stops, I think we got a great shot.
And there are a bunch of other teams experiencing the same emotion, thinking the same thought as the field starts to pull away.
The cars are coming out of the pit lane now then, being led by Paul Tracy and Michael Andretti. Patrick Carpentier, there he is, 3rd on the grid. Tremendous performance, is his best qualifying effort to date. And let's take a look at the grid then. Tracy and Andretti on that front row together. Michael Andretti won this race last year. He was also a winner back in 1987. Patrick Carpentier's best starting position of his kart career. And Gilles de Ferran, who's yet to finish in 2 previous Nazareth starts. His best result this year is 5th place at Surfers Paradise. Maurizio Maurizio Guterman lines up 5th on the grid. It's his best starting position ever on a 1-mile oval. And Raul Boesel is alongside him in a surprise performance in qualifying. Confidence boosted by leading the race in Long Beach last time. Alonso Jr. still looking for his first win on this Nazareth oval, but in great shape in qualifying. Bobby Rahal took his last win in his career back here in 1992. That's 69 races ago. Brian Herter took 6th place at Long Beach. That was his best finish of the year so far, but watch out for Greg Moore. His charge to 2nd here last year equals his career best. Scott Pruitt is the championship leader by 3 points, but he's back in 11th position. He's been in the top 5 every time. He's alongside the reigning champion who's scored points in every race so far this year. Guelta Salas ran here last year in the Indy Lights Championship, but he's taken his best qualifying position of this year. Alongside him is Richie Hearn, who was 2nd fastest in this morning's warm-up. Tremendous performance from the youngster in the Lola. It's another Lola up next with Andre Ribeiro. All 3 of his career victories have come on ovals. Mark Blundell taking his first ever start here at Nazareth. Parker Johnston is in 17th place. He's had a couple of top 10 finishes this year, but alongside him is the Scot, Dario Franchitti, one of 8 drivers making his first race here at Nazareth. Next up, Adrian Fernandez, 19th, his 4th visit to the Nazareth Oval. Alongside him, Roberto Moreno. His best ever finish, a 3rd, came on another oval, but the high-speed one at Michigan. Alex Zanardi then, back down in 21st place. That's his worst starting position since he's come to the kart series. Alongside him is another Italian, Max Papis. He's taking his first start on a 1-mile oval. PJ Jones, his first IndyCar race on this oval, but he's raced in Indy Lights, and he's alongside Michel Jourdain, the 20-year-old Mexican, having engine problems during practice and qualifying. Juan Fangio is back on the 13th row using the older spec Toyota engine. He had a spectacular blow-up in qualifying, and alongside him is Hiro Matsushita, taking his 100th start in IndyCar racing here today. The Nazareth Paul Tracy leads them round from pole position. They've completed 2 laps under yellow flag, the race being started, but under yellows because of dust and sand on track. That's now been cleared up. Now, are they going to start in single file? No, they are actually going to be allowed to start double file by the looks of things. For any of their other restarts, then they're going to have to start in single file. That's a slight change for this track because Nazareth is so demanding, and that means that later in the race, when they see the restarts, they'll be one behind another. But for this first start, then we're going to get them side by side across the line. They go. Paul Tracy versus Michael Andretti into turn 1. Tracy takes the advantage. Carpentier slotting into 3rd place by the looks of things as everyone charges down into turn 2 and begins to build up the momentum, the speed here. It's Paul Tracy in the number 3 Penske who leads from the black car of Michael Andretti, then the white and blue car of Patrick Carpentier in 3rd position, and already they're completing the first lap. That shows you how quickly they get around here. Gilles de Ferran is in 4th position. Maurizio Guterman in 5th place. Alonso Jr. is 6th. He's made 1 position, and Raul Boesel has dropped back down to 7th place. Bobby Rahal in 8th. Greg Moore is in 9th place. 10th position for Jimmy Vasser. Behind him, Brian Herter, Richie Hearn, and Scott Pruitt. Mark Blundell is in 15th. Into the pits, though, very early on, Andre Ribeiro, and I've no idea exactly what the trouble is.
Apparently a half shaft broken on that car. That's a great shame for Andre Ribeiro and the Tasman team right out so very, very early in the race, and if it's a broken half shaft, little chance, I would say, of repairing that.
Yes, a confirmation that a broken drive shaft on that car, so that means Andre Ribeiro out of the race. Paul Tracy's opening up an initial advantage already, but very early days. What we expect to see is different cars being on the pace. We've got a yellow flag's just come out as Guelta Salas was just moving past Raul Boesel at that point. Or was it Scott Pruitt? In fact, probably moving up past Scott Pruitt, Guelta Salas. But we've got a yellow flag because of debris on the circuit. And they're the top 12 positions, as you can see. Tracy leads from Andretti, Carpentier, and de Ferran. Greg Moore sits in the pits with a rather smoky-looking Reynard Mercedes, and it looks like the end of the race for him as Paul Tracy leads the rest of the competitors around. Taking another view here of what happened to Greg, he got it all crossed up. Now it looks as though that was actually sliding on his own fluid.
Yeah, you can see the fluid actually leaking out of the side of the car as he corrected the car there. Great save by Greg Moore. He was probably doing certainly well over 170 miles an hour when the car started to slide as he went into the corner. So a heck of a save.